Oh, oh, I haven't hidden Greg. That's what I hadn't done. There we go. That's back to normal now. Except everything's back to front there. Anyway.
Is it? Are we live now?
Yeah.
I don't even know. Oh, where are my notes?
Hello, Arnie.
Hey, Are we good to go?
I don't know. You can't seem to hear me properly. Is it just an old man thing?
Yeah. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the episode.
Hi,
hey,
Arnie.
everybody.
Hi, Arnie in the chat.
This is the bit. This is the sort of stuff that gets
This is the bit
edited
that's
out.
getting edited out when Fraser actually does some editing.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Seal Podcast, episode number 158 for the first week of January 2023. My name is Fraser. I'm joined on my left by Dave.
Hello.
And on my right by Neil.
Hello.
Happy
I'm
New Year,
closer to my
gents.
mic, by the way.
Ooh,
Is
you
that
sound
better?
full and rounder.
Well, that's the Christmas pudding.
Right, so first episode of 2023. We all well? Everybody good?
Yeah, not bad. There's a bit of illness in the house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but son was supposed to go back to school on Wednesday, and he had the first 2 days of school off because he had sore throat, and he was running a temperature of like 38-ish, 38 and above. And they're like, "You're not supposed to send anyone to school with a fever because it might be strep." So we'll see. He seemed to be better today. He went to school today, and then he's come home. So he was like, "Oh, my throat's really sore." I'm like,
Oh, better get yourself off to bed then. No video games.
yeah, tell me about it. Hey, Lord.
You all right, Dave?
I'm good, thank you. Yep. I'm nearly 1 week into my New Year's resolution of packing up vaping. So
Oh, good. How's that going?
well, I'm not vaping. It's just fucking it's completely messed up my sleep. Yeah. I'm very distracted at the moment.
So this
Just
was
like-
vaping. You were vaping with nicotine, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And how many
Yep.
milligrams of nicotine was in your vape?
About 2 milligrams. So it was quite low.
That's low, yeah.
Yeah, it's more the habit. I don't know. It's more than that.
No, it's totally it's all about the habit.
Yeah, so like popping out for a vape for lunch breaks, or it's just when I would normally
finding your hands moving, fiddling, like trying to find something to do.
I've got my toy. I've got a little doodad that I've got in front of me that I'm put on camera. That it's like a little
some anal beads. I think they are
series of blocks that you can twist and turn and yeah, like a fidget, but like it's not a fidget spinner. It's just a fidgety thing. But it's quite loud, so I'm not gonna mess about that on my hair. And yeah, just like what do I do now? I'm not gonna go.
Look at him rubbing at him.
So yeah, it's yeah. Anybody else got any New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, I've stopped drinking.
Yeah, that's going well.
How's that going for you? Yeah.
Stop drinking lager. Sorry, stop drinking lager. Today. No, I don't really do it.
I need to stop vaping up.
Jesus, looks like a 10-year-old who's just tried his first cigarette.
Okay, well let's pop on with the show then. Neil, do we have much football? It can't be that.
Oh, yeah, of course there is. We're back on it. It's back with a bang, isn't it? Where's my mouse cursor gone? I can't find my mouse cursor. There it is. On it like do bonnet, as they say, some people. Right, well, we're in the midst of a double game week for some teams. There's one fixture left in this game week, and it's not until Thursday, I think, next week, because it's FA Cup weekend.
Hooray.
So there's Fulham v Chelsea to come on Thursday next week. So scores on the doors are Paul Davies is still holding on to first place. But yeah, holding on is a bit of a understatement because he's like 60 points clear of second. Thereabouts. Pilch Reed is still in second. He had a good week so far on 72. And Stephen Holdsworth, aka Lord, He's hanging on to third, but he is hanging on a bit because he's had a bit of a poo week so far. I'm on an all right week. I'm on 69. Nice points. I've gone up to 6th place, and I was languishing down 10th and 11th for quite some time. So I've had a good couple of weeks.
Can come true.
I am on it, as they say. So I've had a couple of all right captain weeks. Haaland obviously was captained by most people most weeks, and he scored 2 points this week, which was a bonus because I didn't have him as captain. I captained Marcus Rashford, which was all right. I was screwing until about the 86th minute when he finally scored, and then I was like, yes, that'll do, thank you. But then I should have had Harry Kane obviously as captain because he banged in 2 and I got an assist and man of the match, so he got like loads of points. But I did have him at least in my team. So, how are you getting on, Fraser? Just scroll down a bit.
Well, I feel like I started strong, and then this week hasn't been going that great for me. Where am I in that table?
The
Dropped
18th.
down again.
18th.
I've had a bad
Underneath
week.
the Garcast crew, I think, pretty much.
I know. I gave them shit, and now look what's happened to me.
Well, you're underneath 2 of them anyway.
Oh, mate. Yeah, I don't know. I felt good, and then now something's gone. The wheels have come off again already. So I don't know. I got to figure that out.
That's a
Even I
shame.
scored higher than you this week.
Yeah, well, it
That's-
happens. It happens. So, but you know, the first couple of, because I mean, this is this is the 3rd game week since we counting as the 3rd game week, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe.
Since we've been back, and I
Yeah.
think the first 2 did well for me. So you
Yeah.
know, anything's possible, right? So
Yeah, I'm already planning my wild card.
I feel like I've got a turning point though, because I finally am returning points from a keeper. I have battled with keeper problems.
Who have you got now then?
De Gea.
Oh, I've had De Gea since the unlimited window. 3 clean sheets in a row he's had. I'm like, yeah, nice.
Yeah, no, it's all right, isn't it?
Yeah. I had Nick Pope beforehand, so he was doing okay. It's just De Gea was like about 500,000 less. I was like, Man United got some nice fixtures coming up by the look of it.
Could be
So
bit
yeah, a
rejuvenated
decision
as
that actually
well.
paid off. Huh?
Yeah. So
Yeah. So yeah, Luke Shaw had a bit of a belter the other day as well for Man United. Man United defence, invest now. Well, probably too late now. You probably missed the boat. Like I missed the boat with Alma on. Obviously, I put him in. Did fuck all last week, didn't he? So
you're gonna get rid of him. You're gonna ship him out again.
he is currently on my outs on my wild card. I haven't played my wild card. I'm planning for it. So
you didn't play the wild card from the return.
no, I played through the unlimited transfers in the window, and I've got
and
a
then we have
wild
the
card
wild
to go.
card.
Yeah.
Oh, you're already on that. You're already licking your
Well,
chops.
I'm just looking,
using the wild card.
planning. Like some players are like doing quite well at the moment. Like that, I really like. There's a guy at Brighton who's a striker. He's actually started playing, and he's banged in like 3 goals in 2 games or something stupid. He's like 4.5 mil. And I've currently got Solanke as my dud striker, and he's doing jack all for Bournemouth. So yeah, it's been interesting.
We're
at
back
least
on it.
Yeah.
We're back on it. Okay.
Anything? Well, Man United were winning the last I saw in the cup tonight, so they were beating Everton. But you know, nothing to write home about, is it? Beating Everton. Only teams like Man City can't do that. Oh,
Okay. All right. Is that enough football then?
I think so. 3-1 in the end of Man United.
Okay, let's move on to the listener mail then. We've got a couple of things here to go through, which is nice. First of all, from friend of the show, John Mouse, now changed his name by Depol to Major Avenge. He of the Joysticks and Chill podcast. Should we just have a mention of the Joysticks and Chill podcast just for a brief second? Where are you, boys? Come on, you got to bring it back. Got to bring it back. I'm sitting there scrolling around. I'm like, I need an episode to listen to. I need something to listen to. Come on, you can do it.
There's
Get
plenty of
another
other podcasts out there. I don't know if you know about that.
yeah, but as soon as I, you know what? It's funny. I don't like half the podcasts that I listen to in my rotation, but it's just I feel like I just know them well enough that I just listen to them. I'm just an idiot when it comes to podcasts.
Do you know what? I don't know. About the month of December, I barely listened to any podcasts. All my regulars, even. I was just like, I just don't know why. I just didn't seem to have time at work. I was busy at work,
Oh,
and
yeah. Actually, sorry, you say you finished?
no, go on.
Chipper Spice came to visit me over the New Year. So shout out to Chipper Spice. And she was listening to, she put me onto a podcast from the BBC that is all about when the consortium took over Notts County and all
Notts
the.
County.
Yeah, they put Sven Goran Eriksson in as the manager, and Sol Campbell was brought in as a defender on 40 grand a week when they were in League
Notts
Two.
County.
Notts
I
County.
don't remember
Yeah.
this happening.
I don't remember it, right? It was about 10 years ago, I think. 10 or something years ago.
I went to Notts County many, many years ago.
Yeah.
My cousin knew the owner or something, so he got us in. We were in hospitality. Had a nice big roast beef, big rib of beef. I can still remember that. A bit massive Yorkshire puddings. This is about fucking 30 years ago, I reckon. And yeah, lovely dinner. And then Luton won 2-0, so it was even better.
Oh, nice.
So, but yeah, it's quite a nice stadium back in the day. I don't know what it's like nowadays, but consider
Yeah.
I don't even know where they are nowadays.
Well, from listening to the podcast, I don't know much about Notts County, right? Because they haven't been on anyone's radar for decades, except for apparently during this scandal period, right, where everybody was linked with going there. But anyway, it's a really fascinating listen.
It's like Newcastle. It's like the same colour kit, but like 30
Notts
years apart.
County are called the Magpies, right? I think
Right.
as well as Newcastle are the Magpies, right? So
Are they? Do they anyone
think
call
so.
them the Magpies? I don't think anyone really calls them Magpies.
Who? Newcastle?
Yeah.
No? Or is it someone else, the Magpies?
Well, it is probably their name, but I don't think anyone really calls them that.
I don't know.
What's Saudi for magpies?
Breakfast. I don't know. Yeah, so if anybody who knows anything about football cares to let us know. Anyway, John's question. He says, I have a question for your next episode. If you could wipe one game from your memory and play it again for the first time, what would it be?
It's like from now. I don't. It's hard, isn't it? Because there's no point playing old games.
Yeah. That's what I was like. Most of the old ones, you're like, they're a bit crap nowadays, aren't they?
There's two ways I was looking at this, because I was tempted to say something like PUBG or maybe Halo 2, but those weren't so much the games. They were to me they were the experiences.
Yeah.
Like if you gave me the Halo 2 to play now, obviously it would have I wouldn't be interested in it, right?
Oh, I think that's still alright.
Nobody playing it.
There's loads of people playing it because it's on the Master Chief Collection. More people playing Halo 2 than playing Halo Infinite.
No. We're talking about playing Halo 2, not the Halo.
Oh
universe.
no, I was totally talking about I was totally talking about the multiplayer. So yeah, if it was to go back and do the experience again, PUBG, hey, first, because Halo 2 was my first online game, so that first time experience playing online against real people all over the world was just mind blowing. But if we're just talking about a game that you could pick up, I would probably say something like Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
You knew that was coming, didn't you? Maybe even Metal Gear Solid 2.
Well, I'm trying. I think it's got to be a game I've actually finished. So there's not that many of them. Over the 40 years I've played games, I don't think I've actually finished that many, really. So it's going to be another boring, predictable answer, probably.
Elden Ring.
No, it's not Elden Ring, I don't think. Elden Ring was amazing, but it can still be amazing even having played it already. I think there's still things to experience there, but I was going to say Dark Souls 3 because I played that in the wrong order.
All right, Dave.
I'll say Dark Souls 2 because I just don't want to play it again, and the memory of it haunts me, and the fact that I paid so much money for it. Yeah.
Did you play Dark Souls 1?
No.
So why did you play Dark Souls 2? Says me who played Dark Souls 3 first.
And everybody said it was great. I played it for like 2 hours and went, no, this is not for me.
Yeah, new and shiny, you see. Thanks, John, for that. Lord says, firstly, sorry I forgot to put my top 5 games of the year in, so I'll quickly give you my top 4. Elden Ring, Omno. Does anybody else? Nobody else. I
You
played
played
Omno.
that. You played that
Yeah.
on stream.
It was all right. I was fascinated that Lord loved it so much. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was.
Is it puzzly? Or was it
It's
just a bit?
It's a good game. It's a really good game. It's a nice small package of a game. The worlds aren't too unwieldy. You just sort of jump around in these worlds and figure out some puzzles, and it's very nice. Actually, you know what? It is a really good game. It is a really good game. I'm surprised I didn't. Maybe I think I might have played it last year though. I can't remember. Anyway, it's a good shout. Death's Door and Tunic.
Yeah, 3 excellent games there for sure.
Yeah,
I don't know about Omno because I didn't play it.
it's a solid list. He says also it's quiz time.
Motherfuckers!
So does anybody want to read the quiz?
I don't know. Do you not then? You sounded well enthusiastic there.
Yeah. No, I am. I can. All right, I'll read the quiz. Question number for
What?
Windows Live.
You went muted
hang on,
there.
hang on.
You went
Sorry,
all
you
like
went-
you cut out for some reason there.
Oh, all right. You with me now?
Yep.
Question number 1. In what year was Games for Windows Live introduced? In what year was Games for Windows Live introduced?
I have a guess.
Okay, have a guess. I'm going to tell you now. I was listening to a podcast back from I think around about 2006, and they were talking about Windows games, gaming on Windows. So I'm going to say 2006.
That's what I was
think
going
it's
to
a lot.
say.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because it was 360 era. Because it was Fallout 3, wasn't it, on PC that had it, I think. So it's about then.
I was going to say 2008. I don't know why I picked that number out. I mean, I asked, but I did.
Okay. Question number 2. Arnie says 2008. And he says PUBG for his game. Memory wipe. So yeah, Arnie, yeah, it's a good choice. Question number 2. In what year was the first Assassin's Creed game released?
Well, now then. Can't be again, same answer, surely. But I'm thinking it's around then. Maybe that's 2008.
It was
I'm going to
definitely
say
360.
2007.
I was going to say 2004. Early.
2005 was the 360, wasn't it?
2007 might even be early.
I'm going 2008.
2008?
Yep. Quaxel in the chat says 2007. Arnie's on 2005. Do we have an answer from everyone then?
What did Dave say?
2004.
Okay. All right. Question number 3. What is the full name of Dota?
Well, we said this the other week when we were talking about something else, didn't we?
Yeah, about MOBAs.
Yeah.
So
I think it's Defense of the Ancients.
Yeah,
Defense
that's what I was
of
going
the
to say.
Ancients, yeah.
Okay.
Was it about a Warcraft thing?
It was a World of Warcraft mod, yeah.
Yeah.
No, was it not World of Warcraft? Warcraft 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Defense of the
all right.
Ancients, says Arnie. He knows about Dota a bit.
He does.
He's played a little bit of Dota.
Resident Dota fiend, him and Sean.
Dota 2, though. Does
Yeah,
it still mean the same thing in Dota 2? I guess so.
Probably. Okay. Who's got answers?
I can see answers if I can find my Discord. Where's it gone? There it is. Okay, the question number 1: in what year was Games for Windows Live introduced? The answer is 2007. Quaxel in the chat. No, was that right? No, he said that for Assassin's Creed, wasn't it?
2007.
Yep, 2007.
None of us had that.
So I had,
Bugger.
what did I go for? 6?
2008. We went for 2006.
That was close.
No good. No.
We weren't a million miles away, so you know. At least
No,
we're
we
in the
weren't.
right ballpark. In what year was the first Assassin's Creed game released? The answer is 2007. It's the same answer two in a row.
I got that.
Bollocks. And what is the full name of Dota? It is Defense of the Ancients. Hooray!
Hooray. All right, I win.
Boo.
All right, I'm not going to hang on and gloat about my amazing
Well,
victory.
you
there.
might as well. It's about all you
Yeah,
are winning
I know,
lately.
I won by 2-1.
Yeah.
To 1. Yeah, cracking. He's Lord, thanks, Lord. And he says, as a bonus every week, I'm going to give you a would you rather question for you to discuss. So I will start with, would you rather be able to talk to your pets or read other people's minds? I gave this some thought already, so I can.
Well,
tell
I
you
didn't have to think too long, to be fair, because I don't have any pets. So,
Okay.
Well, to be honest, like your pets' minds are quite simple. The demands are quite, you know, they don't have objective or objective thought.
how
It's
do you
like
know?
food.
Subjective,
Well,
surely,
they're
isn't it?
subjective. They don't have
They have
higher
emotions,
processing.
don't they?
It's kind of.
I'm pretty sure they do. Well,
I know
dogs anyway.
horses.
Unless it's a fish, obviously.
Horses have like 17 different facial expressions.
How do you know that?
Something I randomly. I was reading about what was I reading about? I was reading about like emotions in animals, and
Right.
just
Was this
a
researching
weird
this
fact that
question?
I remembered. No, no, this was like over Christmas. I was like, I wonder
Sure.
if and yeah, like I was reading about it. And
Things
yes,
you
they
do when
do
you're
have.
trying to quit vaping.
Yeah, they have. I don't know. They don't. I don't think they have emotions the same way we have emotions. They have more reactionaries, and we sort of put our emotions onto them. That's what I was reading about anyway.
Okay, yeah, I can get that.
So,
But dogs
no.
cry, don't they?
What the fuck? Look, just answer the question.
No, but it's like it's right. Dogs don't wag their tails at each other.
Didn't
Like,
Prince do a
Yeah, you
song
do.
about that when
no,
dogs
they
cry?
don't. Dogs don't wag their tails at each other.
Well, there you go. Doves
Dogs-
do cry, obviously. So
Look.
And cats don't meow at each other. They just meow at humans.
Dogs developed specific muscles in their eyes to give them a "please give me food" look
Right.
that
To
feral
humans,
dogs and wolves
but
and coyotes don't have.
but it's not that they have the emotions of like sadness. They just have hunger. That's not an emotion.
Yes, I don't
So
recall ever saying that dogs get sad,
no. Well, yeah.
depressed, but I guess maybe they do.
well, when someone's not around for a while. Like somebody say you go on holiday for 2 weeks, and when you come back, they all look well happy. Like all the videos you see of the Marine that's come home and he hasn't seen his dog for like 2 years, and the
Honestly,
dog goes absolutely fucking ballistic.
Yeah, you come back with the shopping, and they do the fucking same. Like literally, like because they know you brought them food. Yeah.
Okay.
Would you about your superior knowledge on this subject.
Would you
I haven't
rather
got
be able
pets.
Have you got pet? You've got a dog, Dave. Would you rather be able to talk to your dog or read your wife's
I talk to my dog. I tell us this stupid little fucking shit or every day.
Yeah, there's nothing to stop you talking to your dogs anyway, is there? Really?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Like learning what the missus actually means. When she says nothing's wrong. Is a lot better than.
Is it though?
Knowing the dog going food.
I
I've got
have
to lick myself.
my answer to this is I mean the dog conversations would be pretty basic. You want food? Yes. Do you want a walk? No. I mean you can figure out what the dog wants straight away, which would be rather refreshing, particularly when there's a problem with the dog, right? I have no desire to read other people's minds. One, because I would not be able to take the horrendous truth of what they thought of me once I got in there and found out. You know, we're
That's when
all
the
of us
sad eyes come out,
probably
isn't it?
grade A assholes most of the time to the ones we love. I don't think I want anything to do with reading other people's minds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
I'm
sure the
stuck with that.
Twilight
I'm
Zone
afraid.
You know what?
I'm stuck with that. I could buy a pet, I suppose, just to avoid having to read other
Just go
people's
grab a
minds.
spider off the floor somewhere and just
Oh yeah.
sign it
Yeah.
pet status.
Yeah. I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Sorry.
right. No, that's all right. Unless you need to deep dive again into animal emotions, which I'm sure we could get a podcast out of that, a whole podcast out of it. Well, I don't know if we could actually.
Well, I don't know about that.
SLH, friend of the show, big friend of the veteran gamers, says she's just sending us just general love and affection, hugs all round, and to wish everyone a marvelous 2023. Thank you very much, Susan.
Thank you very much. And
Much
to you too.
appreciated. I hope
Same.
you're well. Hope you had a good holiday. Itza says, after a lovely festive break, what type of person are you? I wish I had more time off, or I'm looking forward to getting off the sofa and getting back to the grind. I can tell you that I need to get back to routine. After a while, my head gets done in a little bit. I like time off, don't get me
I think,
wrong.
don't you do your head in on a regular basis anyway? So,
Yeah, there is that too, but I don't know. I don't know. I find after many decades, there is some comfort in getting back into a routine.
get up,
I was
make a joint.
thinking about this. The
Get up, wake and bake.
I was thinking about this as like actually like winning a substantial amount of money. Like not having something to get up for every day must be really hard. Like just deciding to get up and go, I don't know, do something, and not just stay in bed until about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the day.
You can just do
every day.
something at 11 o'clock instead of
There are
9
other
o'clock.
things to do, though, right?
No, but I've got I'm so bad. I would literally turn into a complete night owl. I'd stay up until like 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning and go bed.
If you had endless money, would you really be doing that? You'd just be doing something much more interesting.
Oh, you'd say that. Oh, well, no, not
Maybe
not
you could,
endless money,
I don't know, start a company to build a rocket or something. Could buy
Get
Twitter.
yourself a track bike. You go out track biking all day. You can't do
Well,
that.
that's it. I
man.
think you have to sort of put yourself. You would have to do something. And I was thinking like, like own it, like starting a company or doing something. But then I thought, oh, I haven't actually got any sort of
So,
skills
here's a
or
question.
experience.
Here's a question for you then. So at the weekends, do you just lie in bed then all day?
If I had the opportunity to, probably, yeah.
Right. Okay. I mean, but the point is, there's always stuff to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're going to get up and do stuff. I would have thought, no doubt. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe you have a
Oh,
week where you're lying.
like over the break, I wasn't doing that. There's always stuff to do, but it's like, yeah, not having a job. So I was quite happy, as you say, same as you, Fraser, to have a routine of having to get up, go for an early walk, like get set up in the morning, start work at 9 o'clock, and then that's it. That's my day started, and that's fine. It's when I didn't have to start work at 9. My walks were getting a little bit later. Yeah, I was taking a long time to get up and ready, and like having 2 or 3 coffees before
Sounds
getting
like
up
my
and
life,
out.
this does. This
Like,
bit.
and, and yeah, it was just like that. As the break got further along, I only had a week and a bit off, but it like kept on getting later and later, and I ended up going out. The last couple of days it was like, oh, it's getting dark now, because I was going out for a walk at like 3:34. Because literally, I was just like, oh, there's no impetus to get up and go and start.
That's why you just go and play video games. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I got up
so,
at about 11 o'clock today. I went to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, on weird ass time though, aren't you?
Yeah.
All right. So are we grinders or sofas?
So far,
Grind.
I think yeah, I like the grind. I like the
Dave,
routine. I like the routine.
you could get
actually,
a
I
horse.
don't sit on the sofa. I sit on a chair rather than the sofa.
Dave, you could get a horse, and that would get you up
Yep.
in the mornings. You go off to the stables, feed him, check out which expressions
Yeah.
on your
See if
chart
he's happy
give
or
you.
not today.
Have a chat with him.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's another one from John. He says, "My contribution is a comment. Thanks for always being awesome, lads. Much love."
Cheers.
Cheers, John.
Okay.
It's all for you, mate.
Oh, there was something else here
but-
that's gone. What's
but
gone on
that's
there?
much appreciated. And then Paul W says, "As a child, how did you satisfy your gaming appetite? Thankfully for me, there was a pretty healthy and steady flow of playground ZX Spectrum piracy. Likewise for me. I mean, before that, I was a child of video games. Like when I was about 10, that's when all the arcades, Pac-Man, Defender. I can remember all those things starting to pop up in my childhood. So my video game addiction was just really whenever we were somewhere where there might be a video game. Was there a chance I could get some money off my parents to play them? I didn't really get anything at home until a Spectrum, and then the same, right?
We
For
had.
those of us who had Spectrums, most of us were pirate. Had access to every
Well, that
game
was
anyway.
easy to pirate back in the day once they developed tape to tape. Would you have a tape? What was it called? Like a twin tape deck thing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
could just
tape
record
to
one
tape.
tape to another one.
You
My
had to make
my
sure
mate
you
my mate had a triple tape deck. You could record
Why?
2 tapes off one.
banging them out. You just had to be careful with the Spectrum games because you couldn't do it at like a lot of the tape to tape machines
High
had
speed dubbing.
high speed dubbing. Yeah,
Yeah.
couldn't really risk that on the Spectrum games. And then I think somewhere a bit later in the Spectrum life, they changed some of the games the way they loaded. Right, they went to like it felt like a higher bit rate. Those tended to be a little bit more of a bastard to copy. They weren't as forgiving.
I don't know
so
anything about Spectrums really because I didn't have a Spectrum.
Oh yeah. It sort of changed. I remember there were a couple of games which the copies were always a little bit difficult because it was almost as though the bit rates had become so high that if you weren't on a quality dubbing, high speed dubbing was definitely out on
Out the
those.
window. Yeah, we had a Technics tape to tape that. Mum and
Oof.
Dad. Yeah, it was pretty nice.
Oof. That's pretty flash.
Well, I had a Commodore 64. So I was also into copying cassettes. But then my cousin, he was the first person I knew who had a floppy disk drive for his Commodore 64. And he had a freeze machine, I think. So you would hire games from the library, for example, load it on cassette, press the freeze button, and save the game to a floppy disk. And you could fit 3 games on every floppy disk. And we had fucking stacks. I had a freeze machine as well. It just had, like, once I bought a floppy disk drive, it was like having a fucking massive hard drive, but you could only fit 3 games on it. But it was like a revelation back in the day. Like, fucking, it loaded well quick on the floppy disk compared to the cassette, and like, 3 games per floppy disk. Like every fucking game that had come out ever, basically, you'd had. And it was just,
Nice.
Yeah, I started because my brother's 7 years older, so he started on the Spectrum ZX, and so I was quite young when starting on that as a younger brother, getting on the when I could, and then he kind of fell off the gaming stuff, but I got an Amiga, and so like that was like
that was Pirate Central. That was, wasn't it?
that was brilliant. It was excellent. I just remember going down to the local leisure centre when they had PC markets like every last
The car
Saturday.
boot sale.
Well, it wasn't a car boot. No,
No,
it
but
was
it's
a,
pretty
it was a,
similar.
it was a, it was pretty similar. It was a car boot for dodgy electrical like stuff. And yeah, like all the games were knockoffs, and you can get oh god, was it floppies? Was it 3.5 floppies?
Yeah, they were 3.5-inch floppy disks, weren't they? Did you have?
Yeah.
Did they have the 1.44 megabyte ones or something? Like,
Yes. Yeah, they were the good ones.
oh, what was it?
Um,
Yeah, it was 1.4 megs, wasn't it? 720k
Yeah.
they started at, didn't they? Fucking.
Yeah.
And that was
But
loads.
yeah, you used to always get the dodgy old boys flogging random like Amiga bits and dodgy games and stuff.
Porn
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, porn games. Porn games was porn games was like a the what's it like a card games just with pictures on the back. And it
We
was
had-
that was it.
I remember we had an arcade machine at work once. It was like, you know, when you had to you had a little dot and you like draw a bit of the screen off. Like, and you'd
Oh,
have
yeah.
gradually section a bit, and there would like be things bouncing around, and if you got hit by a thing bouncing, obviously you fucking died or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like an arcade machine, and every time you finished it, it was like a bird with her tits out. So, what the hell? So, how was this? Have we got this at work? That was quite popular for a while.
Brilliant.
Okay, Paul, thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. Lots of listener input there this week, as usual, guys. That's great. And
Nice,
girls,
thank you.
very much. Let's move on to what we've been doing. I'm going to go last because mine is actually going to move into what we've been playing. So let's start
Ooh.
off with. Should we start off with Dave?
Yeah. I watched both Knives Out, the original and the Glass Onion.
Have you not seen Knives Out before?
No.
Oh.
No. I thought I had, but then I was like the Glass Onion started, and I was like, Craig David.
Craig David.
What's his name?
Daniel Craig.
Is it Craig? Daniel Craig, that's it. I was like, his voice is really weird, his accent.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So like, no, I didn't watch the first Knives Out.
So what
but
did
yeah,
you stop
watched
with the second one and then go back and watch the first one?
I
then?
started with the second one and went back and watched
okay.
the first one. Yeah. Really good. Yeah, I understand why a lot of people really like them. The missus is a artist, you probably know, and the amount of art, I wouldn't even say Easter eggs or anything, because it's the whole production has art behind it. And she was just loving it, like, oh, that's I don't know, Salvador Dali or whatever.
Which
there's
one's
loads
this?
of them.
Both of them, or is this
For
more
the
so the
Glass
Glass
Onion?
Yeah.
Yeah, not so much with the original Knives Out. Not that I saw anyway.
Well, I don't know. I can't really. I can remember the film, but I don't remember there being that.
No,
like it was
really...
it was like a country house was the setting really for the main part of that story.
Yeah.
American one.
But with the second one, it's not only the art. There's loads of little things that I think they paid quite a lot of attention to things in the scene. I've seen loads of articles about talking about just specific parts of it, and it's a good film. We kind of guessed it sort of halfway through.
Which one? The first one?
The second one.
Second one, I was on it straight away with that one. I don't know why. I was like, I know who it is. Well, I think I know who it is. Right. But yeah, they still like. I think I don't know if in the first one I was a bit like I don't remember that being quite so obvious. But at the same time, it was still really cool. The second one, it was completely different. Like, because I was like, they can't just make the same film again because that would have just been shit. So I think they did, like, they took the same character, obviously, and made actually a quite interesting second film. Because I was like, this could have just been really poo, but it was actually really very good, and it's different. Like, he's still doing his mad accent, but it was still.
It was really funny at the start where he was playing. What's it called? He was playing a game in the bathtub, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, because it was like COVID times, weren't it? I think because that was kind of part of it. It was like He'd obviously gone a little bit fucking crazy because he'd been locked up in a room for like 2 years or whatever.
Yeah, and it was playing online with like a lot of other famous.
Yeah, fucking what's her name?
uh,
Jessica Fletcher. It's like, well,
yeah.
it's not a
Oh,
real name,
yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like on that video call, there's like 6 or 7 other people, and they're all very famous for doing
Mm.
parts, detective parts or murder mystery parts. And they'll play. I can't. What's the game called? Where everything's sus.
Among
Oh,
Us.
Among Us.
Among Us. They were playing Among Us, and it was like, I don't get it. I'm rubbish at this, and it's like all around him. There's different, like there's Cluedo, and there's other like detective games, and he was like he sucks at all of them. And, like he hates playing detective games, and murder mystery games. But yeah.
So did you watch
I've-
it, Fraser?
I watched it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem I have with it is I can barely remember what happened in the end of it because I think I was dozing off.
But what did you not
So
clock who
I
it was
thought-
then?
I think I did because I remember not being shocked at all. At the
Yeah, it
end.
seemed
So,
well
oh, yeah.
obvious for me. I was like, this is quite clearly it's this guy.
Um,
Inverted commas. Guy is just like
So,
a non-gendered guy.
yeah. So yeah, I don't think I liked it as much as the first one.
No, I don't
But,
think you could like match the first one for like just being something completely different than you weren't expecting at all. But
yeah,
so it's difficult. I think they did a good job, like I say, because the first one was just so different. Like I actually went to see that at cinema, the first one, and I've never gone to cinema to see a film like that. It's always big blockbuster movies that I go to the cinema. And I'd heard so many good things about that Knives Out that I went to cinema to see it, and I was like, yeah, this is actually really awesome. But
yeah, it was good. It was good.
So yeah, so I've watched those two. The other thing I've been watching this week is Star Trek: Strange New Worlds.
is that the Paramount Plus thing? Is it Paramount Plus?
Yeah. I don't know. I've watched it. I should download it.
Yeah.
It's the prequel to
what's his name? Pike.
Captain Pike.
Not the one from Dad's Army, obviously.
Yeah.
So is this new?
This is new. Well, I say
It came out
new
last
in
year
that
or whatever.
It came out. It finished. There was like 10 episodes, and it finished mid this year. This
22.
year. Last year, 22.
Yeah, so it came out with. I think it launched with Paramount Plus like about 9 months ago or whatever. So
yeah. So it's good actually. It is very much. It's this Starship Enterprise, the same Enterprise that Captain Kirk takes over, and a lot of the art, and the dress, and kind of the attitudes. The attitudes
the attitudes are more modern for sure.
Yeah, they've modernised it. There are.
Yeah, because that was 60s when that came out.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So yes, like that part is different. And rightfully so. But a lot of the a lot of the sets and the technology you can tell is very early Trek. Because even the missus is like, oh look, they've got plants. They're growing vegetables in the kitchen. I was like, well, yeah, they're not using replicators. They haven't the food, like they have to make their food. Oh yeah, I didn't notice that. Like yeah, no, that didn't exist.
I didn't even. I totally didn't pick up on shit like
Right.
that.
But yeah, because that stuff wasn't available at that time. So they've kept quite true to a lot of it, apart from the social attitudes.
They have to be very careful with the IP, though, don't they? I mean, talk about it's going to be a rabid fan base if they.
Well, they fucked it in the past, haven't they? Let's be honest. So.
yeah, it's not been great.
Is that? But when you say that, I mean, is that like them just making something that wasn't that great, or not being true to the lore?
I don't know about that, but Discovery was the one that no one likes, isn't it? Is it Discovery? It was the previous. No, that's Voyager. No one likes that either.
Enterprise.
No, it was the weird one. It's with Michael, but
supposed
she's
to
a
be
girl.
Spock's, yeah, she's supposed to be Spock's sister.
Daughter, isn't it? Is it daughter? I can't fucking remember.
Oh.
But yeah, it
And
was a
it
bit
travels
weird.
around in time.
And there's loads
it
of
is
swearing,
weird.
and it's like, this is weird. No, it's swearing in Star Trek.
Yeah. The Lower Decks is still the best Star Trek, by the way.
The
The
best.
animated. Yeah. Lower Decks on Amazon is amazing. Tells the story of the sort of the lower
The normal
ensign,
people.
the normal people.
All the ones that get killed
The red
when they go on
Basically,
away
yeah.
missions.
Yeah. It's very funny. Yeah, I think there's 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons of that. So yeah, and that's it. That's basically what I've been watching.
Hardy
Neil?
Dan's a fan of Lower Decks. He's in the chat.
Yeah.
What you
So
got,
Neil?
Neil?
I also watched Glass Onion. I did get around to watching Top Gun Maverick all the way through on my new fancy sound system and everything.
Ooh! Did you get lots of? Woo?
Yeah, it was a lot. Well, it's basically the same fucking film, isn't it? But it's almost exactly the same film. So it feels like, from what I remember, it's been a long time since I watched the original, but it was just like, this is just Top Gun, but made again. But it was
Did you
cool.
like
it was
Star
cool.
Wars reference?
The what?
The Star Wars, the impossible shot that I've got to.
Yeah, I didn't really pick up on it being
Top
like Star Wars, to be honest. I was just like, this is just fucking Top Gun. I can't remember what they did in the big mission thing in Top Gun, but it just felt so fucking the same. But it was enjoyable.
Did you like the fact that they didn't actually say who the enemy was?
Well, obviously they didn't say it. I've watched something else recently when they have named an enemy, and it's been a little bit weird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that is actually in Slow Horses season 2. It's like it's all a bit like Russian spies and stuff like that. It's all a bit like, this is all a bit weird, considering what's gone on. I don't know when this was made, but yeah, it's. But I'm halfway through it, season 2 of Slow Horses. We banged out 3 episodes on the trot. I was like, we better stop, because otherwise I'm going to be here for another 3 hours, basically, watching the whole thing. And so I'll probably not watch the next. I'll just know I'm going to get into the next one, and we'll just want to watch 2 until it finishes. There's only 6 episodes in the season. And the first season was awesome. This one so far is absolutely awesome as well. It's got it's just ended at a really interesting moment. So I'm like, yeah, let's leave it there. Let's stew, and we'll come back to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get on that.
And I don't know if anyone remembers, about a month ago I said I had an email about my full fibre. So
you did, yes, I do remember.
My date for full fibre installation was yesterday. And so can you see everything's so much better and works even better than normal? Is there any difference?
You know what the biggest thing I've noticed?
Well, can you answer the question? Because there's a bit after that.
Has it been done?
No, that's why there's no change, because it hasn't been fucking done.
Right, okay.
There you go.
Why hasn't it been done? What
they fucking... I had an appointment between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. yesterday. And there I am all fucking afternoon, like looking at my clock, looking out the window, looking at the watch, looking out the window, going, oh, what time are they going to come? What time are they going to come? Made all the fucking area so that they can drill their holes and everything. And it gets to like about 4-ish, and I'm like, it's getting a bit dark now. Probably ain't going to want to do it in the dark, are they? And then, so 6 o'clock rolled around. I went and logged into BT, and it says, there was an update at 4:20, and it just says there's a delay. I was like, what does that mean? And all I've seen, the couple of days before, and then today, is fucking open reach vans up and down the street. I'm like, you fuckers. Fuckers, why aren't you coming to my house? But basically, I phoned BT today, and they're like, oh yeah, engineer ran out of time yesterday, so we're going to need to rebook you a day. I was like, okay. It's like, next available appointment is the 20th of January. I was like, what? It's like 2 weeks. You just say, there's 2 weeks today. I was like, yeah, no shit, it's 2 weeks today. Fucking awesome. So he's like, so would you like to book the morning or the afternoon? I was like, I'm going to go for the morning. He was like, okay, oh, someone's booked the morning just as I do it. And I was like, yeah, fuckers. It's like, so I can either do the afternoon on the 20th or we can move to the 24th for the morning. I was like, no, I've got hospital on the 24th. Go, fuck it. Afternoon again. He's like, okay, so that's all booked. And what we're doing is giving you a £26 credit for missing the appointment yesterday. And every day you're without between now and then, you get £5.25 credit on your account. I was like, oh, so basically I've got a 3 months fucking BT this month.
That's all right. Oh, okay, right.
So
they done
it
you
does
right
suck balls that they didn't come and turn up. But basically I'm getting a 3 month of BT, so including my mobiles and everything. But yeah, I was a bit fucking annoyed, to say the least. But,
So when they turn up, you go like, oh.
yeah, I
bugger
was
off.
like, oh, I kind of want them to leave it another fucking 2 weeks and I get another 3 months of BT. But yeah, bit of a bummer, but there we go.
Of course, it's a bummer if you're sitting there looking out the window waiting
Yeah.
for these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got to a point I was like, they're not fucking coming. They're not fucking coming. But this guy was like, if it gets to like 4 o'clock on the day and they still haven't turned up, give us a ring and we'll give them a make sure. Because obviously they don't want them to fucking not turn up again because they have to give me a load of credit again. Because it's like, it's weird now, isn't it? Because the OpenReach used to be part of BT, but technically it's not anymore. But it kind of is. I don't really know how it works. They had to split it up. They had to split it up because it was a monopoly or whatever. But basically, I think some weird arrangement is still there. Because OpenReach do just the lines. And then the BT is just a provider like Sky or anyone else for the broadband. But yeah, OpenReach, I reckon it's still probably a part owned by BT or some weird shit. So anyway, I don't think they can get priority over any other provider and all that sort of stuff now. So, but yeah, a bit annoying. But hey ho.
So what you changing from and to?
I'm going from just whatever fibre to the cabinet with 60-ish meg. First month is going to be 500 meg. But the big change will be like tripling my upload speed. But I'm only going for the 100, which is supposed to be 150, because it was the cheapest way to get it. And I'm like, but I know after a month of having 500, I'll be like, fucking hell, I'm not getting rid of that. I'm going to keep 500. So, I'm hoping like I'll be able to phone up and go, kind of want to keep it, but it depends how much it's going to cost, because it was like an extra fucking £4 or whatever. So, but the price is going to go up in March as well, quite a lot, I'd imagine, because it's going to be like inflation plus 3.9%, so it's looking at like 15% or something in the minute. This is quite a lot compared to previous years. But yeah, we'll see. I don't quite know when my contract will start either, because I ordered it on the 1st of December. So
they'll
we'll
come
see.
one day. You'll get it. You'll get it.
Indeed. I am looking forward to getting it properly.
Okay. All right. Well, is that you done?
That's me.
I've got a couple of things here. First off is my car is not in my driveway right now. I have not been in my car for over a week.
Ooh.
I think my wife. I got in the car a little while ago and there was low coolant. Oh no, my wife got in the car and said it. My wife said, "Oh, it's low coolant," and I was like, "Okay." It happened, so I put some coolant in or whatever. But then a few days later, it's told me that there was low coolant. I was like, well, now that's a problem.
It's definitely leaking. You don't tend to lose coolant unless there's a problem.
No.
I don't know. Well, I've had a car that, I've had coolant.
It's a sealed system, so if you get a low coolant and you didn't have it before, something's gone wrong somewhere.
I think I've had previous cars where I've been okay with topping up the coolant, every few months, right? Just very, very minor. Whatever, but chopping it up twice in a few days that's not right.
Head gasket job?
No, not the head gasket. It was I thought I was trying to find it. I was hoping I could sort it out myself, but I couldn't. And so I just took it to my man, and he just poked around in it for a few seconds, and so that looks like a new water pump, which is great.
So he's the guy that sold you the car, isn't he?
He's my man.
Yeah, your man stitched you up with a dodgy motor.
I think after sort of the 8 years and 4 Jags later or whatever, I don't think he's in the market.
Well, they only last 2 years each. He's got you, hasn't he? He's got you. He wants you.
My first one lasted 2 years. The other one lasted 2 years. The other one 5. So I'd like to get
This one 2
5 out of
months.
this one. I'd like to get 5 out of this one. So, you know what? Shit happens. But actually, it was directly after we'd had the really cold spell, and it just didn't surprise me, right? You know, the fact that,
Where's the Jaguar?
well, shit goes wrong on all cars. But yes, you know, I just think that it's just the cold weather, and it just doesn't like it. You know, if we hadn't, my wife took the car out for a couple of days during that cold snap, and I think if we hadn't, then maybe it didn't do that sort of warm to super cold to super hot to super cold, and everything just goes fuck this and cracks, right? You know? Or it was a problem that was on its way anyway. So whatever, it is what it is. Just, but there's always something. There's always something. I think so far I'm on a record here of about 3-4 weeks in a row now of car payments going out.
Mike, I don't know what to do about mine. Mine's got a mouldy boot. The water's obviously getting in. It's getting worse because the other day I was like, I went to go to work, and I've always gone on about this heated front windscreen's great. So I had my heated front screen on because it was frosty, sitting in my car. It's literally like 2 or 3 minutes before it clears the windscreen. And I was like, why is my windscreen not clear? And I was like, pushed the wipers, and it was like completely clear on the outside. I was like, oh, fuck. That's all on the inside. And it's just like completely condensation all across my front windscreen. I was like, oh, no, that's not good. That's not normal. No amount of aircon was getting rid of it or anything. So I was like, so I've got a wet car somehow.
So you need to get like a dehumidifier for inside the car.
Yeah, I've got one in the boot because that boot was getting wet, but now it's just like fucking really bad. I'm like, my car's fucked. Why is Fraser muted? Why is he not talking? He's gone quiet. No sound.
No,
yeah, he's gone to come back again. Little quick reboot.
Yeah, quick reboot.
There we go. We have sound.
Here
he comes.
Hello.
But well, Fraser's got a trick for seals that go wrong on cars.
Just glue them.
You just get them. Just glue them like shut. Yeah.
Just glue it shut.
glue your
glue
boot shut.
You know, I changed a headlamp bulb the other day on my car. I was pretty impressed with that because I watched I noticed it had gone. I was like, bollocks. I knew, and I'd had to change the other one on the other side at some point many years ago. So I had a bulb ready in my glove box. I was like, just wait for it to not be fucking pissing down with rain for me to do that. And then I got around to doing it. They're a fucker to get out, them bulbs, I'll tell you. It's easy to get, like, you just take a little cap off the back of the thing. On the YouTube video, the guy's unscrewing the entire headlamp unit. I was like, fuck that. There's a little cap that just take off the back. You can just twist the bulb and pull it out. And then it's like, there's a couple of little things to put a screwdriver in. You like fucking lever it off. I was like, fucking hell, this thing is wedged in here. So yeah, my fingers hurt after getting that. It's all like sharp fucking metal. Nothing nice to hold on to when you're changing a bloody car lamp bulb. But yeah,
I should have got Alfred to do it for like 12 quid or something.
Yeah, exactly. No, it cost fucking loads of money, probably. Piece of piss. Well, I say a piece of piss, apart from the fact it was a real ball ache to get the fucking old one out. But it was a piece of piss once I got the old one out. But yeah, it's like, fuck's taking the entire headlamp unit off. I was like, what are you doing? Steel cap, you take off the back.
Oh, that bad.
Yeah, so... I used to have an old Peugeot 206 Roland Garros.
Oh, very nice.
It was terrible. It was horrible. I will never have another Peugeot. Every single time anything electrical was wrong with it, it was so expensive to sort out. Peugeots and electrics. Every time I took it to the garage, it's like,
I was thinking about getting an electric Peugeot, like fully electric.
No.
Maybe
don't.
You'd hope that fully electric ones actually work, because that's kind of the point.
But yeah, so it's the same for that. The headlamps were absolute pig. So I used to send the missus down to Halfords and get because I couldn't ask for him to do it. I was just like, no, I was just so embarrassed that I just couldn't be asked to do it because it was like an hour job. And yeah, I used to send her down. And the first time they done it, oh yeah, it'll be fine, yeah, 20 minutes, came back, and there's like 3 of them like in the engine bag. Fuck yeah! I'll come back in a bit then. One of them's like, yeah, okay then. And yeah,
this is Halfords. They haven't got
This is
fucking
Halfords.
Scooby. They don't know what they're doing half the time down there.
No.
It's just a bunch of kids
but-
usually. Like, just get the Haynes manual out off the shelf. Start reading that fucker to try and work out what they got to do.
Oh, they were the Peugeot 206 old ones. Were terrible.
Yeah. So anyway, that's cars, which continue to be wonderful machines. And then over Christmas, I decided to buy a Fire Stick, an Amazon Fire Stick. So my TV downstairs, we've had a Roku stick, which has been pretty good. But I was a bit disappointed with the Roku. In watching Netflix, all the streaming services, YouTube, it's been fine, but you can't really do much with it apart from that. Whereas the Fire Stick,
That's what it's designed for, though, isn't it? That's basically all it's supposed to do.
it does what it's meant to do.
Yeah.
But with very little budging. But the Fire Stick though, is completely hackable. Right? You can download all sorts of stuff onto it. So I bought one of those. They were on sale, and fired it up and just got stuck into that, and was putting on all these sort of streaming services and dodgy sites and dodgy apps or whatever like that. And then I
Got
was
Cody
reading
on there, have you? Got a skinned Cody app on there.
Yeah, I've got Cody on there. Yeah.
Downloaded one of their what do they call them? It's like a package that does it's like a pre-set up everything.
Core.
Huh?
Yeah.
Core. They call it. Oh, is it Core? Am I getting that's RetroArch? That's right. I put RetroArch on.
Oh yeah, I had that on one.
But anyway, yeah. So I started mucking around with all that, and yeah, and then I was reading somebody who was saying, well, it can emulate, right? Because it's pretty much just a little Android stick. I guess Android is the basis of it all, and yeah. So I thought, oh, I'm going to emulate on it. Then I'll muck around with that. So I ended up putting RetroArch on, and found a way to transfer over. Oh yeah, that was the other thing that I discovered was, I don't know if you remember, I changed my internet provider about a year and a half ago or a year ago, whatever it was, when I was having all those troubles, and it looks as though so they give you all the time whenever we've had these internet providers, they give you a modem stroke router all in one jobby, right? It handles the modem side, it handles the Wi-Fi to the house, all that sort of stuff, and they've always been locked off. And if you wanted to get into a whole house network, you had to bridge it and then put in your own
thing,
your own router,
Google Nest or whatever.
Yeah, and then it just so happened that I was doing something, and I suddenly saw that a device was recognized across the network, and I was like, "Oh, well, hang on a second." So, because I was considering buying a router, a new router or router or whatever we're going to call it, but it looks as though I don't need to. So I've set up so everything's being seen on this network with the new stuff, which is great. So I put my printer into Wi-Fi mode, and now everybody in the house from all their PCs can use the printer.
I've binned off my Google network now because I've got.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, because with my fiber upgrade, I got a Wi-Fi disc. So I've now got a disc upstairs which extends the Wi-Fi. But also, not to rob your little moment here, but I was fiddling with my Skybox the other day because I noticed that the Skyboxes, the Sky Key ones, they like to put them on Wi-Fi, which is fucking stupid. But because it's plugged into the Ethernet cable, and it tries to connect the two boxes, because I've got another box, Sky Mini box, whatever. It tries to do it by Wi-Fi when the engineers come. I was like, it's fucking miles away. It's like a shit Wi-Fi signal that far away in this house. I've just used home plugs and I've got it all set up. So I went into the engineer menu ages ago, turned the Wi-Fi off. But I've noticed recently, I was like, I'm sure that's the Wi-Fi. When I go on my phone, I'm like, I'm sure that's the fucking Skybox Wi-Fi that I turned off ages ago. Lo and behold, it was back on. They'd fucking obviously done an update to the box, I guess, at some point, and it automatically switched it back on. I was like, you fuckers. But when I was fiddling around with that to go and turn it off again, they now, because I knew if you have Sky Broadband in the past, they can make the Sky boxes like Wi-Fi extenders.
Okay.
But what they've done now is you can extend your 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi if you're not on a Sky Broadband as well. So I was like, that's pretty cool. But like they've opened that up to just extend your. It's like you can build a mesh through your Sky boxes. So I was like, oh, might be able. Maybe I'll move my disc, and turn my Sky boxes on. But I don't know. It's working all right at the minute with my Sky with my Wi-Fi disc. So I don't want to fucking mess with it.
Well, I didn't want to buy. I was seriously starting to consider buying a router because I wanted to just do some minor networking stuff or start to dabble in it. But there was a part of me as well, which is like everything works. Don't muck around with it.
Yeah, whenever I start messing about with mine, it's only me, the missus, and a little one in the house. But whenever I start fiddling about it, the internet's off. Oh, it's like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Yes, it's off. I'm gonna be 10
It'll
minutes.
be back on in 2 minutes. I'm just fiddling.
But I did a deep dive anyway, and I put this retro arch on the Fire Stick. I hooked up my Xbox controller to it, and through FTP, I was sending ROMs across from my PC to the Fire Stick.
Okay.
Of course,
Is it ADB or something? Is it ADB?
Games I already own, something like that. Yeah, ADB.
Something DB, I think it is.
I can't remember the protocol.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, I mean, it worked. I mean, the thing, it didn't take long before I was like, well, I don't really want to play Game Boy Advance games on my 55-inch living room television. Plus, the Xbox controller is very clicky, which I didn't like. It was just, I was trying to sort of just.
What do you normally use then?
I normally use an Xbox controller, but the D-pad, right? The D-pad.
Right, yeah. It's not a nice D-pad. It's better than it used to be on the old ones, but it's.
Oh, it's a good. I mean, compared to what they've done
360
in the past.
Oof.
Yeah, and any D-pads they had before that were dreadful. But then I had the bug, and I was like, okay. So I grabbed, and then I went to see my daughter in her bedroom, and I noticed her Game Boy Advance, or her DS, sorry, was on the side, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna grab. Can I borrow your DS? I was in that sort of tinkering mood, and her DS has a T4 card, a TT card. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, she has a flash.
The card that you can just have every fucking 3DS game ever, whatever DS game ever.
R4. That's what it is.
R4 is.
I literally found mine the other day.
No, they are R4s, but she has got a different one. She doesn't have an R4. She has a TT or something like that. But it works. And but I really wanted to play GBA games, and I was trying to work out how to do it and what else could I do.
Why would you want to play a GBA game?
But I did. All right, so just you have to deal with that.
You were stoned.
And then I was trying to figure out, and I was like, sure, because back in the day, you couldn't run Game Boy Advance games on the DS flash cards. It just doesn't. It just wouldn't work. But this was years ago, and so I was like, I wonder if anyone's cracked that yet. And lo and behold, they had. And so there was an application you can run on the DS cards called GBA 2 Runner, I think it's called.
Game Boy Advance.
And is that your original GBA?
It's not mine. We got this from someone.
Oh yeah. Neil's just
it's all here. It's all here.
He's got a GBA there. Yep, nice little bit of kit.
Oh, I like the clamshells. Yeah.
Yep, I had one of those.
It's got a lot of scratches on it.
And anyway, so I got the GBA runner running GBA games on the DS, and so that was pretty cool. And so I've been playing.
Any good games?
Well, I've been playing Minish Cap. I don't know why. I just got that. I was more doing it just for proof of concept. Dave knows what I'm talking about. Where you're just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I've got shit games on the Game Boy Advance here. I've got The Incredibles.
Yeah, you're not even
Harry
trying,
Potter.
Oh God.
I do have possibly that. This is a Game Boy. Kid Icarus. That might be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
not my games. They're not my games. I don't know where it came from, really.
So I loaded up a couple of advanced games, and I've been playing Zelda Minish Cap. So I'm going to use that as my segue
Minish Cap.
into what we've been playing.
I have
Yes,
never
Minish
heard of
Cap.
this.
So I've been playing Zelda the Minish Cap on the GBA, which I started playing it, and I've played it before, by the way, and it didn't take long before that old Zelda magic, where it gives you something and gives you the sound of you collecting your shield and collecting your sword, and makes you and the sense of accomplishment, and then the first guy sends you on your way, and you have to go somewhere and figure out a small dungeon to grab something. I love it. I absolutely love it, and I've had my head buried in that every day for the last 4 or 5 days. Just pick up and play for a little bit here and there. It's been great. It's possibly it is definitely one of the best Zelda games there is. Even though it's somewhat incomparable to the larger games.
Wow.
On the bigger systems, but it's a great little handheld game. It's charming as you like. It's traditional Zelda, polished, really neat, great sound, and all that sort of stuff. Now, as I say, great sound, I will say that Minish Cap running on GBA Runner 2 isn't perfect. It's not bad by any means. It's not bad. Like it's the same thing like my wife when she drove the car when it was she would never notice these little things, but some of us do notice that, those sort of nerds who are immersed in this sort of stuff notice it. There's the odd frame drop, and which you never get in Nintendo games, right? You never get in full proper first party titles in Nintendo games. Things very rarely, if ever, go wrong, and so they're noticeable by their typical absence in normal day to days. So some of the sound isn't that great. Sometimes it doesn't line up. I had one bit where I was running around for a little while I would press my sword, and then the sound for the sword would come a little bit later. I was like, I think that's lagging, and then it corrected itself. I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely lagging. So it's not perfect by any means, but that's the thing with emulation. They very rarely are 100%.
Have you never done it on your PC?
Yeah, I have. Yep, for sure. I've
Does
emulated
it not
on
run
the PC.
better on the PC? Is it?
Yes, but I don't want to. But I don't want to sit on the PC.
No. But I'm just saying, is it the hardware or is it the software that's the? Because as good as a Fire Stick is, compared to a Game Boy Advance,
I've moved on from the Fire Stick now. I'm on to the Nintendo DS.
Oh, of course, yeah. Sorry.
So, but the Nintendo DS should, by all accounts, be more than powerful enough to run GBA games, with it being a generation later. Yeah. So it's the software, it's the emulation software. I would say. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. No. But yeah, it's charming, absolutely charming. I'm loving it, and I know that there's some. I've lined up 2 or 3 more titles after that. I'm not finished on this either, because the one problem I have, and Neil's gonna love this, is I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing the screen. It's too fucking small.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play on a small screen like that. I gotta be honest.
So that 3-inch screen, and it's probably not even running the full 3 inches off that screen, it's too small. I mean, it's doable, and I put my glasses on.
Nothing wrong with 3 inches.
Some of us are very happy with 3 inches, or have been.
My wife is.
I'm not happy with 3 inches anymore, Neil. I'm moving on. So I have been eyeing up some handhelds. I'm seriously considering
the Steam Deck.
Dropping
Steam Deck.
Well, I've been doing my research, and Steam Deck did pop up as a possibility, but I cannot enter the Steam Deck market for just shy of $600. And I'm like, that's just.
We can.
What?
Well, that's what you do. That's what you want to do. That's what you do if you want a Steam Deck.
Yeah, that's what you would do. Yeah, I don't want a Steam Deck that badly. I'm having. I mean, in no doubt to its quality and its ability to run all these things, I do not believe I will get my money's worth out of a Steam Deck. Not that much.
We've got all the Steam Deck fanboys in the chat.
Yeah, I'm just. Lord says Steam Deck is worth every penny. I mean, that's. Yeah. Dowdy Dan says I've been playing Golden Sun on my Steam Deck. That's what I've got lined up. That's what's kickstarted it all, actually, is I wanted to play Golden Sun, I think. So I've got that lined up. I've got a Final Fantasy Tactics lined up, and I think Mario versus Donkey Kong as well is on there. So they're all good titles. I'll keep playing them on the Game Boy Advance.
Can I do
just
this
gotta
on my
see-
PS Vita? I can do this on my PS
Yes,
Vita, can't
yes. A lot of people have been saying that the Vita is possible. Yeah, you can
Because I don't
jailbreak
use my
that.
Vita for anything. I'm just really fucking funny about with that.
Yeah, it's worth going down and having a look at that. The Vita is definitely a possibility. If I had that, I think it's got a bigger screen too, right?
It's got a nice screen. I've got the OLED one, I think.
Yeah, so I'm looking at what my possibilities are to get a 5-inch screen off something.
5 inches. Steady on.
But
What about a phone?
the problem with the
Yeah.
phone is you don't have the controls, right?
Yeah, you can Bluetooth your controller to the phone like you can your
Yeah,
Fire
but now
Stick.
you're balancing it, whatever. I just, I know what I want, and I want to be able just to reach, pick up, start, play, put down, right? I don't want
Hang
to be
on,
fanning
what do
around
you
with
have,
controls.
Neil? You have a Shield?
I've got an Nvidia
Nvidia?
Shield. They're amazing pieces of kit. I've got to be honest. Mine's one of the 2015 ones, and it still just blows everything else I've ever used to stream 4K TV or anything else.
Yeah.
Just makes
Yeah, I
everything else look shit. So
wonder if that
they're like
still gets.
where you can get a slimmed down version now of the Shield. I've got
Right.
what they would call the Pro version now, but it's old compared to the new one. But it's like 200 quid, I think, for the new Pro. But it comes with a bit more storage and I can't remember what else. But yeah, it's got definitely a lot more storage. But it looks nicer as well, because rather than like a sausage or whatever the cheaper version is now. But,
So I've been down a mass Hardly Dan in the chat says Retro Game Core has a great tutorial for the Vita.
I will be checking that.
I've been watching tons of his videos. He's probably the #1 resource on YouTube for that sort of stuff.
So that's a YouTube job, is it?
Yeah. So there's it's pretty neat. There's tons of stuff just to get to.
So when you're
dick
doing
around.
that, is that like what you do in bed?
What, playing Minish Cap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting your 3 inches out.
Yeah. Playing with my 3 inches before I go to sleep and when I wake up. So yeah, just have a little bit of a blat here and there. It's good. It's good. It's pretty neat.
Can you get
I loved my Game Boy
Xbox
Advance
cloud
back.
streaming on there?
Okay, let's move on to my next game, Neil, because I'm going to segue with what you just said. I've also been playing Nobody Saves the World. So Nobody Saves the World is the dungeon crawler hack and slash from the same people who did Guacamelee.
Yes, interesting, isn't it?
Everybody has raved about, well, not everybody, but most people have been saying Nobody Saves the World is an excellent game. I played it a little while back and didn't really get taken with it. But it was one of those things. It was like Tunic. I didn't delete it because I know that there's a good game in there. I just didn't find it right away. And then today, I was thinking I want to play something, and I couldn't get downstairs. Oh yeah, so I was on my laptop, and my laptop will tell me on one of the neat things on Game Pass is it will tell you, yes, it will run on this machine, or no, you might struggle, or yeah, it's going to run great. Anyway, it said Nobody Saves the World would run great on my laptop, so I loaded it up, got my 360 controller, and just started playing, and it did not run brilliantly.
It did not run great on this machine.
It did not run great. Looked fine, but it was running sub 30 frames a second, I reckon, and just was jank, just what I consider to be unplayable. And then and I was a bit pissed off about that, so I uninstalled it. And then I thought, you know what? Let me try it out on cloud streaming. And so I loaded up cloud streaming, loaded up Nobody Saves the World, and I can tell you I played probably 1 to 2 hours of that game, and I had completely forgot that I was cloud streaming.
So how are you doing it through the Xbox app?
Through the Xbox app on the laptop,
Yeah.
cloud streaming. Yeah.
Because
cloud stream.
I've done a little bit of cloud streaming, and the app is okay. But if you go on Microsoft Edge and go to xbox.com/play, you get access to virtually every fucking game, whereas the app doesn't let you play all the games. It's weird.
Right. Okay. I'll have to check that out. Because if you go on through normal Game Pass, it doesn't give you an option. You have to go into a separate cloud section where it looks obviously it's cut down on the amount of games that are there. But anyway, the point being was, color me impressed with streaming. That is probably the best streaming experience I've had of anything. Not that I've had lots and lots, but everything that I have streamed in the past I've not been overly impressed. Yeah, it ran great. There were a couple of points where it sort of was skipped a couple of frames or something went a little bit weird on it, but very minor.
Are you on the Wi-Fi?
Frequently, no, hardwired.
Yeah, that's the key for me. Is cable. Cable to the router.
Could be. I did try and cloud stream Vampire Survivors to my iPad earlier on in the week. It did not like that.
What was that via Xbox?
That was that was
Steam Link.
Steam Link. Yeah. Did we talk about that last week?
I don't think so.
I think I talked about it with somebody. I can't remember whether we talked about it. So that was Steam, or it's whatever. But so that was Steam Link on my iPad. I've had quite the week of different gaming.
Tinkering.
Oh,
yeah,
I've just had a look. Nobody Saves the World. Apparently, is leaving Game Pass in 9 days.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And that spurred me into action as well. I was like, oh shit, I better get on this. So yeah. So anyway, so cloud streaming on that was good. I was pleased with that, and I got on with the game all right. It was good. Have I walked away from it thinking it's an amazing game? No, not really, but it's definitely playable. I think now the more I've played, there's more for me to get stuck into. So the basic premise is you start off with this guy, he's a nobody. And I think I can't even remember the start of the game because it was so long ago since I started, but probably like he goes into the dungeon and he gets smashed to smithereens. But he can transform into a different animal. So he transforms into this mouse or a rat or whatever he is, and then you send the rat into the dungeon, and the rat can chomp things, right? And so it manages to fight or whatever, and then you can start to level up this rat. And then it sort of turns it and
you're gone again.
Hello.
You
hear me? So you basically unlock different characters that you can morph into. So it wasn't long until I morphed into a ranger who had ranged attacks with a bow and arrow, and I loved playing with her. She was really cool. But what was neat is that you're going through these dungeons and collecting things and collecting experience and leveling up, and there's all these sort of upgrade paths. But there does get to a point where you have to grind a little bit. But you're grinding the characters and you're getting nothing more out of them, or you've ground them to a point where trying to get. So every time you grind a level or a challenge on a character, you get a star point, right? Let's call it a star point. And then I need 15 of these star points to get into the main castle for the next part of my game, and I only had 10. And the next grinds on that ranger were like, yeah, I would really have to grind a lot on that level's character, on that level's bad guys to get those done. So you are forced to switch to another character. So I switched over to the knight who's got a sword, and then you quickly grind through his challenges and you get your star points that you need. So it makes you use, like, you can't get away with just sticking with a character, which is what I thought I might do. You have to take up the mantle on these other characters, and which is good because it forces you to find out that there's other things that might be.
Well, they do different types of damage, like all of they have different weapons. There's a lot of going on for a game that looks pretty simple.
Yeah, that's why I had trouble with it, I think, is because the first time I played it, I was pretty much overwhelmed with, well, what's the point of this? But you have to give it the time. You have to sit there and understand what the game is asking of you. And the combat itself, it has quite a little neat mechanic in that you sort of can poison the people you're fighting. So your let's call it your light attack does very little damage, but if you do 5 light attacks on them, you suddenly fully poison them, and then they start to take residual damage. Even if you walk away from them, they start popping off numbers. And then when you've poisoned them, you can probably do a large attack on them and beat the shit out of them and all this sort of stuff. So there's a lot of combat mechanics in there, which particularly with the Ranger, I really started to enjoy. I started to enjoy the fights. And yeah, I got a fair amount through. And there's little puzzles, and I'm sure there's tons of little hidden stuff as well. Like there's one bit where there's this horse. A slight spoiler, right? You go to the horse mines, they're called, and you rescue all these horses out of the mines. And there's one horse at the end, and he's just got this exclamation mark above his head. And every time I went to talk to him, he's just like, it's just a stupid horse, and it wouldn't give me anything. Right? I go, this horse wants.
It's got no emotions.
It's got no emotions. Can't you read its face? And then lo and behold, like I'm playing a little bit more later, and what character did I unlock next? Anyone?
Yeah, horse.
No idea.
I've played as the horse.
The horse, yay! Oh, you played this game?
I've played this. Yeah, I played it ages ago.
Oh, okay, all right. So yeah, you know what I'm.
So I don't know how far you've got.
I'm up to going into the main castle now, where the king was sitting outside.
So you know, like all of
hours.
the different classes that you've unlocked in.
Yes.
There's a point where you can like take powers from one of the things you've unlocked and put them on another character.
Yeah, I understand that is a thing. I haven't seen it yet, though.
Yeah, that's where it starts to really go a bit mental.
Right. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
I've only got 9 days.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens if I don't get this.
You'll have to buy it
in 9 days, but I'm gonna grind. I'll probably grind the shit out of it over the next 9 days and then be done with it. But yeah, it's good.
I don't know. I got to a point where I can't really remember. I just stopped playing it. It was just like it's good, but for some reason, I just stopped playing it.
Yeah,
I loved Guacamelee as well. I loved their other games. Because that's what they're the guys that made it.
But it's nothing like those.
No. No. It's not the same type of game, but a lot of the they were quality made games, and this is a quality made game. You know, like there's the finesse is there of those games, but in a completely different way.
I'll keep at it and see how we go. So I'll definitely have more to talk about next week. I'm enjoying what I played so far. Like I said, I'm about 2 hours in, 2.5 hours. So,
yeah, that's not that far.
No.
Does it say? It says on how long to beat, how long it takes.
Oh, how long?
It says on the app, doesn't it? Usually on how it's all when you go upload up the app, it says, it takes about 26 hours.
Hopefully, it's not 26 hours.
I think it might be something quite crazy.
So pretty much that's it. I mean, obviously I've been playing more Hunt Showdown. I'll give a quick shout out to Defo and Matt and all the other guys for Hunt Showdown. We had a couple of new guys joined us as well in the last couple of days who seemed very enthusiastic. That game is still chugging along at a great rate of knots. And if you ever want to know anything about being wall banged by pea shooters, talk to Gary. Gary. He knows what I'm talking about.
Right, everyone loves a good wall banging.
Everybody loves a good wall bang. Actually, I got wall banged as well.
I love it when I wall bang someone else. That's for sure. Oh.
Yeah, for sure.
I did a fence bang actually. I think that was quite good.
Okay, that's me done then. Let's go into Dave, Neil. Dave's only got one on there.
Neil.
I'll go. I've only got a couple of games to talk about. This week I picked up the game that Fraser's been talking about, Temetsi.
I saw you pick this up, and I looked at it, and it said Dave has played for 33 minutes, and I was like, okay, that doesn't tell me much. Maybe whatever. And then I looked back, and it was Dave has played for 2 hours. And I looked back a little bit, it was like Dave has played for 3 hours. I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. Strong Minesweeper vibes from it. Obviously, it's a bit more than Minesweeper. It's good. It's very hard. There is a certain amount of logic, and if you want to perfect it, it does let you complete the levels like just getting it all wrong and resetting and everything like that. Well, not even resetting, just going wrong and then trying again. But it's the perfecting it, the hitting no mines as you're going along, and fuck the question marks. The question marks are a complete joke.
This week I had to go. So for those that don't know, it tells you, basically gives you a number of how many mines pretty much or mine spaces are around you. And sometimes a question mark will pop up. And this week I went back in and started another profile to start the tutorial just to see what it said about the question marks. I was like, am I missing something here?
Right.
And it's not. It's just the question marks are just like, there could be something here or there could not be something here.
Yeah.
It tells you absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
They're dreadful.
Helpful.
Yeah.
What's the point of that?
I actually think it's the worst part of the game.
Yeah.
I get so angry about the question marks because the whole thing is it's logic. It's you're working out visually and sort of mentally like how many sort of mines could be around and like if a mine is here, how would that affect the rest of the numbers when it's all grayed out? And then you just come up with a question mark. It's like, yeah, just fucking guess.
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
the question marks you can, they still don't mean you have to guess.
no,
Right?
they don't mean you have to guess. It means you work around a different
You
part of
work around a different path.
yeah, and then it all comes together in the end. But it's just like it's so frustrating. I really like the game. I love Minesweeper. I'm all about the logic and the working out the mental agility of all this. But I think the question marks are cheating. The developers cheating in these puzzles.
Yeah. I think though what's happened though, and like I think I'm up to 65, 66 now in the puzzles. And I can tell you right away, 64 will break you.
Right.
64
Is
an
it just
achievement.
question marks everywhere?
Achievement, you get an achievement for finishing 64. It's fucking brutal. Oh man, I don't even want to talk about that level. It was savage. It's fucking savage. But there have been a couple of points where I've started to see where I feel like I've started to see how the developers have constructed it. You're like,
Right.
oh, I know why that number is there, and so them building the puzzle, they've put the number in there because that's the number they need for the next part of the clue, right? And so not exactly seeing it, but certainly seeing some level of construction of how they've done it. And I imagine that the question mark is just a lazy tool, right?
Right.
That here's the path we're going to take for these people to sort it out. Oops, we might need to just shove a question mark in here just to cover our bases over, for the path here, or to justify why this is, or to block that off so that they don't know what's going on. Yeah, it's not ideal, but it is what it is. They don't come up that often. It's very
No.
Yeah, but they were bugging me too. Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
But yeah, other than that, Call of Duty. Been smashing that again. I've maxed out my level. I'm
Maxed
currently
out your
in
level. What does that mean? On multiplayer?
So yeah, you get a level ranking. The maximum is 250 or 250. One of them. 250. And I'm level 250 now, so I don't earn experience levels on my character on my profile. So yeah, you don't, like with the old games. You used to reset it and resets all your progress. What was that called?
Prestige.
What was prestiging? Yeah, you don't really you don't do that anymore. You just get up to the maximum level, which is 250. So I'm done that. So I'm at the moment I'm going through my I still haven't completed the battle pass. I haven't bought the battle pass, but I was thinking I might just actually complete it first and then buy it like
Because you
on
get
the
the money
cheapest
back, basically, don't you?
because I can just get all the money back. Yeah, and I'll buy the next battle pass with the currency that you earn from that.
We could just buy the next battle pass when it comes out.
You could do, but I think
Then
you earn
don't get
more
all this
money
stuff.
and you don't get all the nice stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I'm also sort of leveling up all my weapons to the way the weapon upgrade or skin upgrade for the weapons is you do the missions for the weapons and you get it gold at the end, and then you've got to get 8 in the same class gold to get the platinum levels unlock, so you can unlock the platinum. And yeah, I've just turned around from actually upgrading my levels on my character to upgrading the guns, or doing the levels on the guns. And all I'm doing is basically playing shipment for about 2 hours, which Neil you would class as hell, but I actually
Yes.
quite enjoy. Yeah, there's games where I finish as like 70, 80 kills, and it's just a complete hell, bullet hell. Yeah, or sometimes like there's random games where I'm just absolutely last and everyone's running around with knives, and I don't know, like I don't know, just matrixing around every single shot that I shoot, and stabbing me in the face. Yeah, so the matchmaking is a bit up and down when you get to
It's because it's a
where I
small
am.
player base, obviously, and there's no one's playing it.
Right. Well, I had a look actually. The player numbers are going down, so I suspect it's because it is mid first season.
Mm.
They've done a few updates, but I suspect season 2 they'll get a sort of big uptake again. So, but yeah, that's it really from me.
Not playing the DMZ.
I was
Not
just about
bad.
to say, should I play DMZ?
We should probably go
Yeah.
and have a little crack at that.
I
I've
think
still
we should
got
go
it
have a
installed.
look. See.
DMZ
Yeah.
is very fun.
Yeah.
I just need people to play it with.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm gonna get that set up to go check it out.
Yeah.
All right, Neil, what you got?
Okay,
for
you
us?
done then, Dave? Is that it?
I'm done. That's it.
Okay. I've continued to play a little bit more Halo Infinite. I'm not going to talk about it loads because I've just been dabbling with the multiplayer. And yeah, still fun. It's a shame it was a botched launch as it was, because I don't know. It's definitely decent. Much more fun than Call of Duty multiplayer. Let's put it that way. I don't die instantly.
Hate Halo. Yeah, I hate Halo multiplayer. The time to kill is so bad for me.
No, it's long. It's good because you
Yes.
don't die instantly.
Or you don't kill somebody instantly.
No, but yeah, I was actually, to be fair, I was getting killed quite quickly by some absolute pros earlier. Oh, like it must have been headshotting me with a pistol because I was just like going down well too quick. They were. But yeah, it is that's my kind of multiplayer. I think, like, just on a sort of map-based multiplayer game, like 4v4 or whatever, is fun. All the guns are good, and yeah, I like the rhythm of the combat in that game is much more fun than Call of Duty for me. But the main thing I've been playing, I'm going to talk about my special game last, but I've been playing loads of The Surge.
What's this then?
The Surge is the sci-fi Dark Souls game. I was bought ages and ages ago. Played for about 3 hours and then gave up because I was shit at it, because I'd never played a Dark Souls game. And now I've gone back to it. I've been played loads of Elden Ring and Dark Souls games, and actually know what I'm supposed to be doing.
The rocky music in the background. He's gone and trained, and he's come back.
Well, it's not as good as those games, for sure.
Well, of course it's not going to be.
But I don't know. I am enjoying it largely. Most of the time I'm enjoying the environment, the futuristic aspect of it. You basically, the gist, well, you don't really know what's going on when you first start the game, but the sort of introductory movie is you're a disabled, well, if you start the game and you're in a wheelchair, and you go into this place, and they basically, you go in for, you're going to have like an exosuit put on so that you can have your body back, basically your legs, the use of your legs back. And something goes wrong. This is all in a movie at the beginning of the game, basically. And instead of getting like knocked out to have the operation, you're fully conscious, and all of this exosuit just gets screwed into your body in the animation of the movie, and you're like screaming away, and it's like, whew, that's a bit harsh. And then you start the game basically, and you don't know what the fuck's going on, but obviously you've got this, and you get to choose at the beginning of the game. Like, there's 2 exosuits that you can choose from. One of them is like a more nimble but less sort of protective, and the other one is obviously the opposite. You're a bit slower, more cumbersome, but you can take a bit more hits. So I think the first time I took the more defensive option, and this time I was a bit more confident of playing a bit more nimbly. So I went for I'm going to be Mr. Nimble and jump around and do it that way this time, which I enjoyed the early stages, and I did do a lot of grinding in the first zone of just like running around killing the same enemies. No, it's not quite. You don't have that. You don't have any like you do level up, but there's no skills. What this game does, yeah, well, you get implants for your mech suit, which chain or give you boosts to health, for example, or you have injectable things, which is how you use like your flask of health like thing for Dark Souls. Is you can choose multiple implants of the health flask type thing, so you can keep refilling your health every time you take hits, or you can spend, because basically as the more you upgrade, the more points you can spend on implants, and as you go through the game, there's higher levels of implants that you find, and they do restore more health, but they cost you 5 points, say, instead of 2 points on your total allocation of what do you call it? Well, they call them points basically. I can't remember what it's called. There is a specific some type of point. And so you've got to balance your budget of where your level is and the implants you've found, because you can't have, and you've only got so many implant slots, so you can only start off with like 4 implants, and then as you get to certain levels, it'll unlock another slot, and you get to 8 maximum, and then you find another suit, which means you have 12 slots. But obviously you've still got a budget to spend on all of these implants, and there's fucking tons of different ones. So that I've not really experimented too much, because they're like, when you were doing more successive attacks that you hit with, you build up this energy, another resource that you can use, and some of the implants will consume that energy when you use them to have an effect, maybe increase your damage output, or maybe even heal you, depending on which implants you've put in. So there's a lot of stuff going on that I haven't really got involved with. I've stuck to pretty basic, increasing my health, increasing my stamina, and increasing the amount of times I can heal myself and things like that. But I will change because if I'm like, oh, I need to grind a few levels, I've got a couple of implants that will increase the amount of what they call tech scrap you earn when you kill things. And the tech scrap is your currency that you use. It's like your souls to use to level up or improve the gear that you've got. You level up. You can level up all of your gear. You can't level up the implants. You find implants around. So there's a lot going on, and so there's a lot of cool stuff going on. The actual combat sometimes is fun, but the basic enemies are pretty easy. Once you if you've got enough stamina, you just block them and then you hit retaliate. There's no difficult parry system. You can either dodge out of the way, they'll do a big attack. You can quite easily get to learn the patterns that the basic enemies do. And I have got to the penultimate boss, and that is really fucking me off, because I was absolutely losing my shit earlier. Because I don't know how many times I've tried to do this boss. And like the first boss, I went in for this second time around and just completely blitzed it. And this penultimate boss is like there's a human character that you have to heal, but you knock so much of his health off, and then he basically calls in the first boss that I killed easily. And this time round, for some reason, I can't fucking kill it. I can kill it, but like you basically got to chip it away, build up like a sort of a meter, and then knock it over. And I'm having real problems knowing exactly what to do to knock the fucker over. I was like, I don't remember this being a problem when I killed it the first time. So it's really frustrating. And I've got like fucking tons of health and 12 like refills of my health. Well, it doesn't refill it completely, but I've got 12 uses of a health refill at the moment on the build that I'm using to go and attack this boss. And then a couple of other things to do with stamina and something else. But yeah, it's really fucking hard. I just really fucking like. I'm getting to the point where I just don't know if I can be asked to fucking beat this boss. I've been like, so like, I've got to fucking do it because I've been in. Like, I know once I get past this, it's probably going to be fine. But it's so fucking annoying.
Have you
Just
not
like-
looked on
I was like, am I doing something wrong? And I went and looked at a guide. It's like, no, obviously I'm doing it right. It's just fucking, just frustrating. Like I've got it. Sometimes I'm just like whizzing around. I'm like, you got to run around its legs, basically the big robot thing that is the first boss. Because if you get too far away, you just get mullered by its long range attack. So you got to stay close, but it's got a big fucking sword basically. And if you go too in the wrong place, it will just nail you with this sword. And there'll be loads of times I'm just running around, don't take any damage, and then I just can't get the fucker to knock out. Because once you knock him down, you've got to like take his shield off of his main housing. He goes like into like a stalled mode, and he won't do anything. And you can just attack him and attack him and attack him. But yeah, I get him down to like virtually no health, and then he goes back to the stomping around mode, and I'm like, right, okay, I can do it. Like so most of the time, I'm fine. I don't take a single hit. And then for some reason I'll get stuck on his leg and I'll be like, fuck's sake, I can't move. And he'll just totally fucking cane me like 3 or 4 times. And I'll use up loads of my health boosts. And then I've got to kill. Then once I've got rid of the big mech thing, the other guy comes back in. And in the meantime, his fucking health bar's gone back up again. I'm like, oh, you are fucking joking. Are you trying to just piss me off? So, yeah, that's where I am at the minute with the Surge. It's been good, but it's really fucking testing me at the minute.
The next week is going to be the test, right? Is it?
Yeah, I will have either finished it next week or I'll fucking stop playing it. So that's where we're at the minute with the Surge, which is frustrating because it is, on the whole, it's been good. Like I say, the combat is definitely not Dark Souls level because it's a bit straightforward, but not bad by any means. Like it's the same buttons basically that do everything. And you've got a load of new mechanics to play around with, which are interesting. So it was dirt cheap on the Steam sale. It's probably about £3 these days in any Steam sale. I know the Surge 2 was like £6.70 or something, but I didn't buy it.
No wonder you didn't buy it.
No. And then I bought and finished a game over Christmas.
Ooh. Well done.
I can't show you too much this one because it's all about sussing the puzzles. It's called The Case of the Golden Idol. I know it's been talked about in many other places, maybe. Let's see if I can show you. Right, so it's a game. Well, it's a mystery game, basically. It's a bit retro looking, a bit sort of Monkey Islandy looking, I guess, old school, but it's sort of like almost like a still, slightly animated stills are what you look at, and then it's like a point and click job. You don't move around the scene; each scene is just stationary, but you can like sometimes there'll be an arrow to point to a different part of the scene. It's a bit not a whole bit old school, but there'll be things in each scene that you need to click on to grab like a word, and they're underlined if you play it on with the hints on, which is the recommended way to play the game. And once you've collected a load of all of the words, it says at the bottom right how many words you need to collect. Starts off quite a small number, and then once you've collected all the words, it unlocks these scenarios that you've got to fill in the gaps on. Let's see if I can show you one.
Good radio.
Yeah, anyway. So it will be like blank blank killed blank blank on the blank of the blank blah blah blah, and you've got to put the words that you found in the investigation part in the right place. And it's pretty straightforward in concept, but you literally have got to read. You click on like a map, and there'll be like it will show you like the geographical features, and in the scene, you've got to clock the things that are in the background of the scene to know that this is the location you're in, because that will be part of the thing that you've got to fill in. It's like so and so killed blah 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 in this particular place, and you've got to look at a map, for example, and then extrapolate that into the picture that you've seen to say that, oh, there's a river there, so I'm obviously next to the river, and there's a river on the map here, and that's next to such and such. So that's the thing that I've got to put on this particular place on the scroll that you've got to fill in to complete the scene. Oh. And then you get like 2 or 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6 things to fill out each scenario. So I'm going to shut that off now, because that's basically the demo that I've just shown you. So it's basically a story. Fraser's going to hate that. This is actually a story. But it's actually really cool.
Not necessarily. Like if there's a story there and it's part, it really is important to the gameplay.
Well, the story is the entire game basically, and you've got to put the pieces together to complete the story. And I fucking think this is awesome. I've never played anything really like it. It's completely unique from my point of view. I don't know of anything else that's quite the same. I haven't played Obra Dinn. I think like a lot of people liken it to Obra Dinn. Like you get it's different in like its mechanics versus Obra Dinn, but it's like you put in a scene and you've got to suss out what the hell's gone on by, in this case, clicking on words and then putting them in the right place on the sort of the story. You've got to fill out the story with the blanks of the words that you've clicked from, like the scenes that you've looked at. And the scenes themselves will give you a clue, but you'll get so far down the line and you might have to come back to a fucking scene from like 5 things ago to work out what's happening in a scene like further down the game and stuff like that. It's really fucking cool. I bought it on sale, but it was like, I don't know, not megabucks anyway. It was 20% off, I think, in the Steam sale, because it only came out in November, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty new.
Yeah. So has got a demo. I recommend you play the demo, and then you'll know whether you're going to be interested. I played the demo. I was like, yeah, I'm buying this. So,
okay.
It's really cool.
It's still on my wish list.
Play the demo.
Maybe I will.
And that's it for me. That's all I played. Apart from some shitty Game Pass Quest games like Black Desert on streaming, which was awful. So, less said about that, the better.
All right. Well, look, we're at the 2-hour mark, so that's as good a place as any to say that's a show. I was pleased. It turned out I did play some games this week. I was worried that I hadn't. So,
thank the DS for that.
Thank you. Yes, alternative ways to play video games.
Yeah, I shall crack open my Vita. What do you call it? Metaphorically, maybe over the weekend.
You should. Yeah, they are going to be in the background, be picking Hardly Dan's brain about his Anbernic. He says he had an Anbernic 351V. So I have been looking at some Anbernics as well. But
is that a specific emulation device then?
I think it's, from what I've understand, and I've learned more about emulation devices than I ever thought.
It's a good rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat rabbit hole. Yeah, Anbernic's pretty much what one of the main brands there. And I was looking at another one called the Miu Mini, but it turns out that that's only got 3 inches as well. So
Ooh.
ooh. I need more inches
Yeah.
in my hands.
3 inches is a good starter, but you know.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, all right then. Well, look, thanks, guys. Dave, do you want to do our closing?
We'll do our closing. Thank you for listening to the Seal Podcast. If you'd like to ask us questions or get involved, please contact us either on Twitter at Seal Podcast, email us at sealpodcast@gmail.com, or join us on our Discord server. A link is pinned on Twitter. We have a YouTube and Twitch channel which we upload and stream to regularly.
Not
Neil,
often, just
shout out-
regularly.
Not often, just regularly. Yeah, yeah. Neil, do you want to do a shout out for chat?
Okay, we had Arnie, Lord, Quaxel, Hardly Dan. That's it, I think, for the speakers.
I'm just looking through. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, thank
yeah.
you everyone for your support as usual. It's much appreciated. It's why we enjoy doing it. And yeah, welcome to 2023. We'll be back with you guys next week, guys and girls next week. So until then, we'll see you later.
See ya.
Thanks, guys. Bye.